Welcome to Top to Bottom Male Romance Podcast, where we celebrate all things male romance. I am Jessica.
And I'm Markie.
And this is our November top episode.
Yeah. So before we get started, as usual, I wanted to let you know that we do have reader groups, both on Facebook and Goodreads. You can jump in and talk to us about our bottom pick for the month, any cool romance novels that you've been reading lately, cool comic book series that you found, manga, anything related to male romance. You can jump in and talk to us about it there. We also have a Patreon. Our patrons get heads up on any author interviews that we have coming up and have the opportunity to submit author questions. So if you haven't had a chance to check out our banana harem, make sure you go and do that.
And as usual, if you have not yet rated us on whatever it is you listen to us on, please go and do that so other people can find us too.
Indeed. Do you want to hint about the cool thing that we're doing?
Yeah, so just briefly, we mentioned on our bottom episode for October that it was our 1 year being on the air, so it's our birthday and we're very excited, and many other people were excited too, and there's opportunities for people to get some very, very cool stuff. But that's all I'm going to say for now. We'll talk about the rest of it towards the end of the episode.
Indeed. You should be tantalized.
I am, and I'm also quite jealous. But
yeah, I was like, when we were putting all of this together, I was like, are we allowed to enter our own contest?
And of course the answer is no, and that makes us both sad, but that should make you happy, but you won't find out until the end of the episode, so you have to listen to the whole thing to find out, or fast forward like a jerk.
But you should hang out with us. We're fun sometimes, I guess.
And this is a cool episode because we're going to talk about Markie's adventures at GRL.
Yes.
So before that, we're going to talk about what our bottom pick for November is. So every year since I have discovered Gail Carriger, she has given me the birthday gift. My birthday's at the beginning of November, and she has always had a book release at the beginning of November, and this year is no different. If you guys will remember, in November, our very second book pick and our very first interview was Miss Carriger. We had her on for the Sumage Solution, which is the first in the San Andreas Shifters series, and her new book in that series, The Omega Objection, is coming out on November 4th, which is the day before this goes live. So that is going to be our pick.
Yes, and I'm really excited because we're a big fan of her, obviously, but this series in particular is so funny and fantastic. And I just looked it up on Amazon before we started because I couldn't remember which character it was about. And if you had read the previous book, it's about Tank, which is this big ass, kind of keeps to himself shifter from the first book. And I'm really excited. Plus, this one apparently has some dominance and submission play, which is cool because I don't think Gail's ever written anything like that. So I'm really excited to see her take on that. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, and anytime I read something super sexy from her, I just picture her blushing and giggling as she's writing. So I'm really assuming that that's going to be something that happens with this one. But I'm really excited about this. I love all of her books, and this one's right up our alley. And I know we usually do the first book in a series for our bottom picks, but suck it, I wanted to read this one, so you get to read it too. And if you haven't read the first one yet, it's fantastic. If you do audiobooks, Kurt Graves does the narration on that. We had him on as well for that, and he's just a beautiful, beautiful person. And you should listen to every book he has ever narrated. And this is a really great place to start. So jump in with that first one if you haven't already done so, and then we'll get this one that comes out on November 4th, and you can talk to us about it at the end of the month.
Indeed. Also, I just double checked this one, The Omega Objection, can be read as a standalone, but since her books are so fantastic and the worlds are very much wonderfully entangled with each other, I would recommend picking up the first one. The first one's really great. Plus, you kind of get added bonuses when characters show back up, and Gail's known to do that. Her side characters especially are some of our favorites. So yes, go read Sumage Solution and then dive into this one with us.
And if you're jumping on it as a standalone and you haven't read any of these, they are paranormal. There's werewolves, obviously, Kitsune, this fantastically marvelous drag queen Kitsune, who is just one of the best things in the world. So yeah, just definitely come with us on this journey. It should be fun.
Yes. Also, since it is the beginning of the month, we also have a new fresh banana. This month is going to be Andy James. Her first book, Teddy and His Bear, came out October 25th. I'm not going to read the really long blurbs, but I've noticed that people have gotten really good at the very end of their blurbs, kind of wrapping it up into a too long didn't read happy little present of what the book's about. And they're usually my favorite ones. What made me pick this author and this book to bring for our Fresh Banana was the very end of the blurb. It says, Teddy and His Bear is a 90K slow burn, May-December, daddy kink, male romance featuring one hot daddy, his sweet new boy, coffee, and unicorns. I love it.
Sounds like it should be fun. So that's a great Fresh Banana to check out.
Yes, absolutely.
So I am super jelly. I've been super jelly knowing that you were going to get to go to GRL and I wasn't. And you texting me throughout the whole time you were gone just made me just giddy with excitement for you, and then super green with envy because holy crap, it sounded like a blast.
I did have a blast. I will start this with saying I kind of got to the party a little late, so I didn't get to go to the panels I really wanted to go to. And I was only able to snag one interview, but it was a really good one. So, and I was still able to connect with people and talk to them and have a really good time with some really cool people. So I'll talk to about that a little bit more. I showed up. Actually, before we super start this, I'm sorry. Let's all congratulate Jess. She actually just got married. This is why she couldn't go with me to GRL, is that she had a wedding the following weekend. So we're going to take a pause and say, congrats, Jess. I went to her wedding. I was part of it and it was fucking amazing.
Thanks. Yay. It was amazing. It was pretty perfect. And if I was going to miss GRL for anything at all, that would have been it. And I'm super excited and yay. And actually because of that, because I was so busy with the putting of things together and getting last minute stuff done, you and I actually haven't had much of a chance to talk at all about your trip. So a lot of this is going to be the first time of me hearing it, which is exciting to me. But yeah, super awesome. Love my wedding. Might post a picture if you guys care. Might post it even if you don't.
You should at least post some of the, before everybody gathered and, what the decorations look like. Because Jess's wedding was, a dark carnival Halloween themed. So everything was black and white. And there were a lot of, skeletons and masquerade masks. And it was really cool. So we might throw one up there just so you guys can check it out. Because I'm extremely proud of how she was able to pull this all together. And I really love it. So.
And I couldn't have done it without you and the rest of the girls and everything. But man, seriously, you guys made everything happen. And I love you and you're great. And now everybody gets to hear me being ooey gooey.
Yes, well, ooey gooey aside, we'll digress and go back into what we're...
You guys know, first, you guys don't even know this bitch grated a pound of cheese by hand. For me because she loves me. And anyways, so that's pure friendship and love. And if you guys don't have somebody who would grate an entire pound of cheese for you, then you just don't have real friends. So the end. So GRL.
So I get to Virginia, which is the first time I've ever been to that state. Beautiful. I got super lucky. I missed all the rain. So I got there when it was not too hot, not too cold. It was 65 the entire time I was there. So it was really nice. I actually got a ride from AC Mink. Her son picked me up from the airport because she was offering people who were going to GRL rides because she lives up there. So instead of us having to take Uber or Lyfts or whatever back and forth from the airport, she was shuttling people from the airport to the convention for 3 days. So fucking mad props because it was an airport. So it was a pain in the ass. And she had gotten caught up. Apparently somebody had gotten sick or something had happened and somebody had ended up in the hospital. So she was picking them up to take them home. So her son ended up having to give me a ride, and he was great. So he took me to my hotel. And after I landed, got picked up, got to my hotel because I wasn't cool enough to stay at the actual GRL hotel because I waited too long to book my room. I get all my shit put away and then lift to the hotel, which was 4 minutes away, but I had to wait 15 for a damn ride. By the time I got there, it was 4:30 on a Friday. So I caught the tail end of the co-author panel and that was cool. But literally I jumped in just long enough for them to wrap up and it was done. And I was oh my God, I missed Jex's panel. I missed Charlie's panel. All the really cool stuff I wanted to see apparently was the day prior. So, or was earlier that day. So I was pretty bummed I missed that. So as soon as I am able to get my badge and everything, I immediately try to start finding people. But of course, since it's Friday evening, people are starting to go to dinner and it was kind of a madhouse. And I remember one of the coolest things, and I ended up posting this on the GRL page just because I wanted to take a moment of reveling in how amazing the male romance community is. I was standing in the lobby and I had been texting Jex on Facebook being like, hey, I'm here. If you're still around, I'd love to, find you and say hi and stuff. And she was like, yeah, we're actually about to go to dinner. Just meet me in the lobby. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm hanging out in the lobby and I get struck down with like a big ass headache because, I've been running around jet lagged and, excited, stressed of being there. So my head starts pounding. And so I go to buy like a $5 pack of 2 pills worth of Tylenol because you're buying them from the hotel. And somebody stops me and I really wish I caught this person's name, but she caught me. She was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I just have a headache. I gotta buy thing. And she's like, I have Tylenol in my room. Do you want me to go get you some? I was like, you don't have to do that. Like, you're clearly about to go do stuff. I'll just spend $5. I don't care. She's like, no, save your money. I'll be right back. She takes off, goes all the way back up to her room to pick me up some Tylenol and bring it back down. I was like, and I'd never met this lady. She just happened to see that I had a GRL badge and didn't want me to have to spend $5. Like, just really sweet, right? So if she happens to be listening to this episode, you're awesome and you saved my ass because my head was killing me. So just stuff like that basically sets the bar for how everybody acts from this point on. Like I had talked about it in our first GRL experience when I came back about how I got there, I was by myself and people were inviting me to go to lunch with them and stuff. It was the same kind of atmosphere the entire time I was at GRL. There were always people willing to sit with you and talk to you, stopping in the hall to say, hey, like there was never an awkward moment. Like everybody there was just super sweet and fun. There was actually a bartender that was working in the hotel bar that became like the unofficial mascot of GRL. I think his name was Winston. I think it was Winston. He ended up with like every single button from every author there, because like people just kept giving him buttons. And so he kept wearing it on his apron and stuff. So he was like decked out in GRL stuff. And so he had mentioned that he wanted to try to go to GRL next year. And somebody had posted in that GRL Facebook page like, oh my God, guys, we should make a bunch of stories with like a main character named Winston and gather money to like get him to GRL. So that would be, hopefully this happens because it was really cool. And he was a super sweet guy. Anyway, I digress. So one of the coolest and probably the highlight of me going to GRL was I was able to spend time with Jex Lane. Not only am I a huge fan, me and Jess both are. She's a really wonderful person and I consider her a friend. And this was the first time that we had met face to face, right? So like I know what she looks like and I've seen her, but it was the first time like I've heard her voice, like just that kind of cool, like I didn't know what she sounded like until she came over and was like, hey man, and like we hugged and it was really cool. And Steve was there, Lord Jex, and they are as ridiculous as you think they are. Like their relationship is hysterical. They're constantly picking at each other and it's hilarious. I ended up going out to eat with her and a couple of her other fans, which is really cool. So I get to hang out with a bunch of BMOs and talk about the book, and having Jex there was cool because we got her point of view and stuff on that. But we were giving her such shit because we kept being like, well, we really like this character. What is it? Can you let us know about anything? Or like poking and prying and trying to get information. She's just like, leave me alone. Let me drink my beer. Just stop it. So we ended up going to this like Irish pub that was downtown from where we were. We noticed that all of the totals for the beer and food and everything ended in 33. And apparently the owner is from Ireland and they thought saying 33 in an Irish accent was funny. So they put every total of every menu item that ends in 33 cents. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, so that was really cool. And I was able to snag a interview with Jex. The one interview that I got was with Jex. She actually, it was the next day. She had just gotten done with the author signing and everything. And I was texting to try to reconnect with people, a couple people that I wanted to talk to get some interviews. But of course, at that point, everybody was either too tired, had previous engagements out the ass, or like, we're about to get on a plane. Like I was not able to wrangle a lot of people. But Jex was like in her room and she's like, yeah, I have some time. I guess I'll put on some real pants. And I was like, oh my God, I know you love me if you actually have to put on jeans and come downstairs to do this interview, because she was like chilling in her room. She's like, oh. So I love you, Jess, thanks. But I got an interview with her basically talking about, this was also her first GRL, so her perspectives on how it was going and what it was like to sit and talk to her fans and stuff like that. So since we're already talking about it, I'll go ahead and segue into the interview of me and Jex standing in the hallway of GRL talking on my little microphone about her experience. So here's the interview with Jex. So we have with us right now Jex Lane, and we're at GRL 2018. So Jex, this is your first GRL. What do you think of it so far?
It has been great. I didn't know what to expect going into it, and it's been a little overwhelming. When it's your first year, things come at you really fast, and it's like just events are flying by. Oh, I have to be here right now? Okay, I'm just there. I blink and they're over, and then I'm on to the next thing. But it's been crazy. You always hear the rumors of bad stories that kind of come out of these events and drama, and I have not run into that at all. It has been nothing but a positive experience, except the hotel, which has been, it's been a nightmare. I don't blame the GRL staff, but the hotel overbooked without them knowing, and I didn't actually have a room for the first 2 days, and thankfully author Haley Turner put me up. Thank gosh, because I would have probably been a couple of blocks away, and that would have been real annoying to go and haul books and to do changes. She let me crash in her room, so that was great.
And speaking of Haley Turner, you actually did a panel with her and S.J. Himes, right?
Yep, we did villains, and that was also one of those things that I feel like I blinked and it was over, but it seemed pretty successful. I do know, like, right after the panel when I did my signing, a lot of people came up to me and were like, I saw your panel and now I really want to check out your book. So that's always the best possible outcome of ever doing one of those panels. And of course, I love talking about villains. I love writing evil. It's sort of my thing. I write dark anyway, so I love talking about the bad guys. They're just so much fun.
Are there any authors that you met here that you were fangirling over when you got to meet them?
Oh my gosh, so many. There's a lot that are, just friends or acquaintances, and I got to know them a little bit better, which was a lot of fun. But TJ Klune was the big one, and he's the big one for like everyone. So it's not like I'm unique in that situation. I walked away with four copies of his books all signed. One I'm going to do as a giveaway in my group, but the other three I'm keeping for myself because they're going to go right on my shelf and they're not going to be touched because I read them all digitally, and I'm just going to treasure them forever. I even told him, like, I'm having a fangirl moment. Please excuse me. It was pretty bad, but it was just awesome. Cora Knight actually walked up to me.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that.
That was so cool. She's like, I'm Cora Knight. And it took me a second to kind of, just so much is happening all at once. And so many people are walking up to you. And then suddenly I'm Cora. I'm like, oh, it's you. Hey. And I was so excited because my fans, they're huge fans of hers. And I've read all her books and I love them. So that was really, really awesome. I got a picture with her and I was geeking out about it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm still jealous of that because I had been trying to find her all day. And then you posted that picture and I had just gotten back to my hotel, which is like 3 blocks away, and I was like, damn it, really? Like, I just left. It was like 20 minutes. So I was super jealous. So do you have any highlights from the convention so far, other than meeting TJ Klune and Cora Knight?
Give me a second. I'll think of one. Right. There's just, again, so much. I think I was really worried I wouldn't sell any books. Yeah. So when the signing was done and I asked Steve Lorjax, if you follow me, you'll know who he is. He's my significant other. Yeah. I talk about him a lot on my personal Facebook profile. He was like, yeah, we're pretty much out. So I was really thrilled. That was, for me, a highlight. I do know tonight is the 80s dance, and I am super looking forward to that. I'm sure it'll end up being a highlight. But just meeting everyone, just seeing them and going out to dinner with them, that was always really cool. I got to go out to dinner with a bunch of fans and you too. Yeah. And that was really cool. And it's always really humbling to hear people talk about the books and, just having a good time talking about them and hearing who they love and hearing who they hate. And it's kind of a surreal experience, to be honest. Yeah. Like I'm not used to that. That doesn't come at me all the time on Facebook, but you kind of filter it out whether or not you're going to see it, but to have it live and people talking about the book, it's just really neat and really cool to hear that, like these books are live things that they get to live, and it's just really cool.
I was going to ask if it was different because you're really active on your Facebook page, and so you talk to people constantly on there. So was it more intimidating to have like your fans right there being like, oh my God, these books, I love them, these characters?
It can be. I didn't find it too bad, I don't think. It always kind of, I hate Devik. Oh, Well, I love them all, so I mean, I'm in a little bit different boat. But no, it was really cool. I didn't find it too intimidating or anything like that, or too weird. I was kind of hope that maybe this kind of thing will happen, that they're passionate about the series and talk about it. But it was a different experience. I'll say that.
Very awesome. Well, I know we've got our 80s party tonight, so I'm very excited about that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, before I forget, you have a new short story that's out, Pleasure with Business. So is that available? Where can people grab that?
It will be available for free. I think the release date, I don't think I've nailed down the release date. It's going to be a couple days before Halloween. And where it's going to be distributed, I'm not 100% sure yet. I have a few different options that I'm looking at, but I'm expecting thousands of downloads the first day. So I have to find a system that can handle it without crashing. Because if I just put it on my webpage, those kind of hits will crash my page out, and I don't want to do that. So I will let people know in my fan group, on my Facebook page, and of course through my newsletter once it's all up and run, and I'll get that out to everyone.
Well, I'm sure it'll be awesome. I haven't had a chance to read it, and I'm lucky because I was able to snag one of your physical copies of it with Haley Turner and S.J. Himes' short story, so I'm going to read it first, so no, you guys. But I'll make sure to provide links of your website and your Facebook page and everything in the show notes so everybody can go check that out as well. But thanks so much for taking the time.
And there you go. As of now, the short story that
that
we bring up in the interview is out. I linked it in the October Bottom episode because it came out right before that episode, but I'll go ahead and link it in the show notes as well, along with Jex's website and everything. If you guys aren't already rabid fans, here's your chance. So that was a lot of fun. So the next thing that I was able to go to after hanging out with Jex and stuff, I think that night Charlie Cochet had a game night where she had a bunch of authors hanging out doing Pictionary. And I actually won a copy of Haley Turner's A Fairy of Blood and Gold because she was drawing Beauty and the Beast. And I don't know how the hell I was able to pick it out because it was all romantic movies and I don't watch those. So everything that everybody was drawing, I had no idea. But she drew a lady in a dress and like the start of a horn. And I was like, Beauty and the Beast? And she was like, you got it. So I got a copy of her book.
That's awesome.
So I was like, okay, cool. And that was one of the ones that I had in mind to buy anyway. So woohoo, fun. So that was pretty cool. And I got to meet her and she's fantastic and wonderful. And I'm hoping that she's able to come onto the show at some point. I, talked up the podcast as you do. So let's see. So I think that was all of Friday. And then Saturday was the big author signing where I ran around saying hi to everybody and said hi to Lucy and Sloan because they're wonderful and sweet. And I got to meet J.R. Gray and he's super cool. Bought one of his books. I got to meet Sheena Himes, H-I... Is it Himes? Okay.
Yeah,
Sheena Himes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to meet her. And what's cool about Sheena, one, she's great and she writes about shifters and she's a fabulous human being. But she also helped me with naming Heartaches and Hoofbeats. Because when I was trying to figure out what I was going to call it, she was one of the ones who helped me workshop my name in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in. And so I ran over and was like, you probably don't remember me at all, but you helped me with this and you're great. And I gave her a button that had Heartache and Hoofbeats on it. And she was like, oh my God. And it was awesome. So that was a highlight for sure. Ran around, did all that shenanigans, spent way too much money on books, had a great time. Quickly.
I'm sorry. Can you stop? I don't understand that sentence you just said. What does spent way too much money on books mean?
Well, it's when you have a budget for books. The budget was more on the weight on my suitcase to go home. Because I was like,
you could just leave your clothes there, maybe?
Yeah, this is why they pay the big bucks. I just shoved everything in my suitcase and just hoped they didn't charge me too much. So yes, what was I going to say? Oh, the next coolest thing that I got to do, one of the only panels I got to go to was the narrator panel that had a bunch of amazing people reading snippets of fantastic stories. But the person I was there to see was Kurt, because Kurt Graves is fantastic and I love him to death. And he was reading a snippet from Ravensong, which was awesome. And I ended up doing a live stream for the podcast. So if you guys want to listen to it, it's on our page. You can go into the video tab and watch it. I can't guarantee that it's good quality whatsoever. It was just on my phone, but it was fantastic. And I love him to death. And of course, after it gets done, I run over and get a hug out of him. And it was super fun. We ended up going and hanging out at the hotel bar and just talking about the trip and how GRL was going for him. I didn't have my microphone because I suck, but I got to just talk to him. And he was actually hanging out with the founding members of the Clunatics, which, Jess, I know you're in that group and love it to death and recently pulled me into the madness. These ladies were awesome. Like, they were hilarious. Talked about TJ Klune books and they kept insisting they were not sassy. They are extremely sassy. All of them. They're like Gary level sass. I adored the hell out of them. Hanging out with them and Kurt was just so much fun. And it was about that time that Will and Jeff had come down to the bar, and we got to talk about GRL and books.
And that's Will and Jeff.
Yeah, the Big Gay Fiction podcast. We brought, again, if you guys haven't had a chance to go listen to them, go do that because we love them to death and we've brought them up tons. So I'm sure you're probably like, geez, these people. We talked about Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda because they're both such huge fans about that book. So we talked about that for a little bit. And then, of course, since they're professionals, they had all their equipment. So I was on one of their episodes. So that was fun. As an aside, TJ and Kurt announced at GRL that they're actually doing their own podcast. They're doing a love song podcast where they're reading, I guess, love song. I haven't looked anything up on it because crazy with all this stuff, but I'll make sure to link it in the podcast notes so you guys can go check it out if you haven't already, but it looks pretty awesome. So definitely go and check that out. I think it's just going to be like 4 or 5 episodes. Kurt said it's going to be, I think they released all of them. I think they're already all out, so you can just kind of binge listen to all of them. And then they're thinking about maybe doing something similar down the road with other installments, but with different stories and different authors and stuff. But I don't really know what they're going to do with it yet. And I don't think they are too, because they're kind of like testing the waters. So, but yeah, they're all out, so you guys can go and listen to all of them. So I'll make sure to put that in the note. I got to meet Jackie North, who was one of our Fresh Bananas a couple months back for her Heroes for Ghosts book. And I bought that and signed it. And she's super cool. She actually had gotten on the elevator when I was going towards the signing, and she was like rushing around trying to get all of her stuff in place. And I recognized her because of her purple hair. And she turned around and I was like, I must have looked like a creepy ass because I was just like smiling, like as I do when I'm awkward and don't know what to do with myself. And she was like, hi. And I just like held up my name badge and she was like, oh. And I'm like, I think I did that to absolutely every person I met because, oh God, I sound like a creepy person, but like I would know who they are because of being friends with them on Facebook and, us being fans of the genre. I follow a bunch of authors pretty closely because I adore the hell out of them. So not all of them, but some of them post pictures of themselves. So I'll recognize who they are. And then I'll walk over smiling like, hey, it's so-and-so. They don't know who the fuck I am. So I do this thing where I like smile and then I just like hold up my name badge like, hey. And usually they're just like, oh, hi, like that doesn't mean anything to me. Or it'll click and they're like, oh, and I get hugs and stuff. God, I probably am just the creepiest person. In hindsight, looking back at it now, realizing how probably super awkward that was. But at the time, I was just like, look, I love you. Yeah. One of the cooler moments, I guess probably how I will wrap this rambling like a jackass segment of our podcast is there was an 80s costume party Saturday night, which was the last thing I was able to go to because I had to leave really early on Sunday. I had to catch a 7 a.m. flight. There was an 80s costume contest or costume party rather. So everybody was decked out in just some really ridiculous shit. Like,
I really, really quick want to interject here, and I need to ask you because you did not respond to my text when you sent me the picture, is why the fuck wasn't Steve a Ghostbuster?
So that was so funny, and like she had been getting shit for it all night because apparently something happened with the costumes and they weren't able to get there in time or they ran out or something. So Steve was already giving her like boatloads of shit because he wanted to be a Ghostbuster and like it wasn't able to happen. And so every time somebody would find them, they'd be like, hey, I thought you guys were going to be Ghostbusters, like every single time. So when I sent you that picture of us hanging out and being ridiculous, and you said, why isn't he a Ghostbuster? I just cackled and turned the phone. And Steve, of course, was just like, ha. And Jax was like, God damn it.
For what it's worth, her Rainbow Bright getup was the cutest thing I've ever seen, and I want to steal it, and probably her too.
Yes, it was pretty awesome. So we were all hanging out, drinking and being ridiculous. And I remember I saw somebody dressed up as the new animated Voltron cartoon that's out on, I think, Cartoon Network. And I remember being like, oh, that's cute because, Voltron was during the 80s, but this is like the new one. And I remember watching the person talking and stuff. Like, for some reason, I remembered that Cora Knight posts a lot of Voltron fan art because she ships the two the Keith and Shiro. I realized that the person dressed up as Keith was with a Shiro. I was like, fuck, I bet that's Cora Knight. So I walk over there and it was, which was just the coolest thing because she was there as a reader, not as an author. So she wasn't at the signing or anything. And we kept just missing each other by minutes. Like she'd be tagged in a photo in an area I had just left. she was having some weird issues with her Facebook, so she wasn't able to skip messages. And I had been sending her messages. Hopefully I didn't bug the hell out of her, because I was just like, where are you? I want to meet you. So I kept just missing her. And so when I finally found her, I was just like, I fucking knew it was you. So I got to meet Cora for like a heartbeat, but of course she's being pulled away because everybody else wanted to talk to her too. That was cool getting to meet her, because I'm such a huge fangirl of her. So that was the nice little cherry on top of GRL, of meet somebody just by happenstance, because they ship Voltron characters, and this is the community that would be all about that. So, but it was really fun. It was tiring. By the time I got back where we live, I was beat up. It was a super fun trip. Next year, we absolutely have to get out there earlier. I had no idea how much shit I was missing until I got there, because I thought more stuff was happening Friday evening, and I guess I just didn't register how late I was coming in, because I landed at like 2. And I was like, oh yeah, well, this doesn't even start until this time. But yeah, after you land, wait for your bag and get to your hotel, blah, blah, blah. Like, you got to factor in an extra 2 hours. I didn't get to do nearly as much as I wanted to, but I still got to see, I want to say, everyone I wanted to see, like all the authors who I adore, that I really wanted to connect with. I at least got to go say hi while they were doing their signing. And of course, everybody's fantastic and sweet and wonderful, and signed everything I put in front of them, because they're troopers like that. It was a really good time. I'm looking forward to next year, because you get to go with me.
Yay!
So, and it's closer to us because it's in New Mexico. So, super road trip.
I am very much looking forward to it. We have a year to plan. No wedding for me this time, so I can get the money put aside and make the time happen. So I'm really excited for that.
So next year, for sure. We'll have hopefully way more content. And I'm really sorry, guys. I really did try to get a lot more interviews. I was bugging Jackie North that she was staying at a hotel like across the river. So she's like, yeah, I'm not even in the hotel right now. I'm like, shit, I'm sorry.
We'll get it.
I don't know.
Next year, we will.
Next year we'll get it.
We will annoy everybody with our friendship, and it'll be great in the most adorable way possible. So please don't run away. So what I expected to be a rather short episode has run fairly long, so we better tell people about our badass giveaway.
Yes, I feel like I just talked a super lot. Do you want to talk about the giveaway so I'm not hogging the show? It's totally up to you, but I don't want this to be the Markie half hour.
So we reached out to a lot of the authors that have been on the show over the year that we've been doing this to see if they wanted to contribute to our super amazing badass 1 year of being on the air. And we actually were fairly moved with the response that we got. So we have really badass physical stuff, signed copies of books by amazing authors that we've had on the show.
So we've got Gail Carriger is providing a signed copy of The Winner's Choice with some swag tossed in. K.A. American is offering an ebook box set of Guns and Boys, so the entirety of Guns and Boys, so that's an awesome prize. Yes. Sloan Kennedy said she's offering a signed copy of her newest book, The Truth Within, so I haven't had a chance to read that one yet, along with some swag, and she's got some cool shit. And Charlie Cochet said that she will also provide a signed copy of any of her books, so Thirds or the new 10 side story that she did, the Working Security series. You can pick any one of those books. She will sign it and send it to you, also with some swag. A pretty cool little haul of treasures for those who would like to participate in our little giveaway.
And how can they win this giveaway?
So I'm going to be posting a Facebook post with a graphic that basically is for this giveaway. You have a chance to enter if you
have to like and comment. You get bonus points for sharing.
Yes. And it's not limited to just Facebook. I'm also going to put it up on Twitter as well. So you can have a chance to retweet and comment. You have to comment with your favorite episode of our podcast this year. So if there was a particular interview that you really liked or an episode where we were just so damn funny, just let us know which one was your favorite and then you'll be entered. So very easy to enter for a fantastic.
So stroke our egos.
Please.
Stroke our egos for a chance to win amazing swag and books that are signed by amazing freaking authors.
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what this is. We want you to tell us how much you love us, and you might win some cool shit. So Hey! But yeah, so I'll post that separate from the post about the episode. So this will go up on our page, and then immediately following that, I'll post like, hey, this is the thing, comment below with how much you love us. And then, of course, like Jess said, bonus points if you share it. We'll be documenting everybody who participates. And this is going to run all month long. So it will end on the bottom episode for November, which will be the 26th of November.
We will probably, if we're going to do that, are we not going to announce it until the December top episode then?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, so that would be December 3rd that we announce it, but you have until November 26th to enter.
Yes, because I want to give plenty of people options to enter. So you have a lot of chances to share it to your friends so they have a chance and everything. Yes. So yeah, we'll announce the winner on our December top episode. So yeah, happy days. We got cool books to read. Well, I have plenty of books because I went to GRL. But
yeah, you also brought me some, so I also have plenty of books to read.
So we've got some good stuff to dive into, and I'm really excited about the Omega's Objection as well. So this is going to be a fun month. And it's, the turkey holiday. So we'll also be, I guess our episode airs before Thanksgiving yet, or is it after? Is it after?
It'll be after. It'll be the Monday after. So after you have done your eating of turkey, if you're in America, and then your shopping of the Fridays that are black and, all of that good stuff, then you'll have our episode and it'll be great.
Indeed. So I guess we will see you guys at the end of the month. Good luck.
Good luck. Bye.